This video is Lischus Sheina Freda Bas Tamar Bela. She should have a Yeshua and a bracha and a tzlacha. We're going to learn the Hilchis Pesach. We're going to learn the laws of Pesach. We're going to start with the opener to Hilchis Pesach from the Rebbe's Shulchan Aruch. That there are 8 mitzvahs, 8 commandments, 3 of them positive commandments, what we need to do, and 5 of them negative commandments, what we shouldn't do on Pesach. And the first one is that we shouldn't eat chametz on the 14th day of Nisan, that means the eve of Pesach, from midday and onwards. The actual time in which we stop eating chametz on Erev Pesach is printed in many calendars, which comes out to be a little bit earlier than midday. And the second mitzvah is a positive commandment to get rid of all chametz from midday and onwards. And again, the actual time that we ends up being a bit earlier than that, and that's also printed in calendars. And getting rid of chametz, the word that's used here is levair, which can mean many things, and one of which is, there are a few ways to do this. One is through burning the chametz, which is the most common way. The other way is through, another way, for example, you can take the bread and crumb it and get rid of the crumbs in the air. So there's a few different ways, but the main thing is that it's completely lost and inedible. The third mitzvah is that chametz should not be seen for all 7 days of Pesach. The fourth mitzvah is that chametz should not exist in our possession for all 7 days. And the fifth mitzvah is not to eat chametz for all 7 days of Pesach. Now, part of this thing of chametz not existing in our possession, so we know that there is also a solution for if we want to hold on to, for example, let's say we have many pasta boxes, or if we have many packs of cookies or crackers that we want to hang on to for till after Pesach. So what we can do is we can take a closet, and it shouldn't really just be just a shelf of the closet, but it should really be like its own closet with a door where it's closed and where we mark it and we say we're selling this with a chametz, and then we go to HaRav and we sell our chametz. The Rav sells the chametz to a non-Jew who owns it for the duration of Pesach, and after Pesach we buy back the chametz from the non-Jew, and therefore we're able to eat it again because it's not considered that we had chametz in our possession on Pesach because it's not ours. So, for example, if a non-Jew walked into our house on Pesach and was holding a chametz sandwich, he's allowed to eat it. It's not so practical and convenient because then we'd have to clean up after him and get him to get rid of the chametz if there were crumbs coming out. But theoretically, let's say if he was holding it in such a way where no crumbs were coming out and he was eating a sandwich in our house, it wouldn't be a problem because it's not chametz that's visible. It's not our chametz that is being visible. It's someone else's chametz. Okay. The sixth mitzvah is that we shouldn't eat any taruvis, a mixture of chametz. And we're talking about a mixture that has a kazais of chametz, like an olive size of chametz at least, which is inside the mixture. And even if you don't taste chametz in that mixture, but the fact is that you have the chametz in there, that already makes a problem. The Alter Rebbe gives a specific example of a mixture like this. So even a mixture of chametz is problematic. Many people, therefore, this is a side issue, which is that many people cook all their meals before Pesach for the reason that we say chametz bePesach is asur b'mashu. Chametz on Pesach is forbidden. Even a small fragment of chametz in our food is forbidden on Pesach, and it doesn't become batal, it doesn't become nullified. What does that mean? So, for example, with milk and meat, if you're cooking a pot of meat, chicken soup, for example, and a tiny bit of milk falls in. So as long as the volume of the milk is less than 1/60th of the volume of chicken soup that you have there, the milk becomes nullified in the chicken soup and it's kosher. On Pesach, if somebody walks by with a crumb of chametz and that crumb falls into the pot of anything, parev, chicken soup, any kind of pot, then the smallest amount doesn't become nullified. It doesn't matter whether you have 60 times the volume. So therefore, many people are careful to cook their meals before Pesach. So they cook, let's say, a whole tray of chicken or whatever it is that they're having, and they'll make sure to cook all of it before Pesach with a kosher kosher the Pesach kitchen. They kosher their kitchen for Pesach, and they'll cook it before, because then any amount of chametz, if it's a minuscule amount of chametz, say even a tiny crumb that happens to accidentally fall into what we're cooking before Pesach, it can become nullified. But on Pesach, even a small amount is what's called asur b'mashuhu. Even a small amount can make all of the food forbidden to eat. So that's why we're careful even not to have a mixture of any small amount of chametz on Pesach. The seventh mitzvah is a positive mitzvah, which is to eat matzah on the eve of the 15th of Nisan. So this comes out when we're outside of Eretz Yisrael, outside of Israel. So it's on the first and second night of Pesach, the first two seders, to eat a matzah. And we're supposed to eat a kazais matzah, like an olive-sized volume, which comes out to be a little bit less than half a matzah. And the eighth mitzvah is to talk about the exodus from Egypt on that night. And that's the reason why we do so many different things on Pesach. And the reason is so the child should ask questions. And we actually have it as part of the Agada, the 4 questions that the child asks. Why are we doing things differently this night? But in general, all of the things that we do, the fact that we're reclining like in a way of liberty to remember our exodus, but we also do many things like we move the tray of matzahs, we reveal the matzahs, we cover the matzahs, we lift the cup, we put down the cup, we do so many different things, and we have all these different foods that we eat on the table, and all these things that are different than the rest of the year, and all this is to cause the child, to cause others to ask the question, and for us to relay the Haggadah. Haggadah means to tell the story of the exodus from Mitzrayim, for us to remember the miracles that Hashem made for us.